Everyone is waiting to see what will happen with the deal that has been proposed to release Israeli hostages and bring about a long-term ceasefire in the Gaza Strip. Meanwhile, the IDF has eliminated a senior member of the Islamic Jihad, one of the leaders of the attack on October 7th, and Turkey has suspended all trade with Israel as Egypt expresses fears about the traps awaiting all of us in Rafah. I'm Yair Pinto, and this is your Boots on the Ground report about what is happening in Israel on the 212th day of the war against Hamas, Hezbollah, Iran, and all their proxies. The hot topic today is the possibility of Hamas agreeing to a deal that would see the release of Israeli hostages and a ceasefire in the Gaza Strip. Some reports say that Hamas has dropped many of its most absurd demands and brought the possibility of a deal closer. At the same time, Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu is under tremendous pressure from members of his own coalition who are demanding that there not be a ceasefire until Hamas has been completely destroyed. However, there is also pressure coming from the street protests who are demanding the return of the Israeli hostages at almost any price. Amidst these competing pressures, Netanyahu is reported to be willing to make concessions that pose a great danger to the security of Israel in order to implement the first phase of the deal. Those concessions include the release of hundreds of terrorists from Israeli prisons, some of whom are in prison for having murdered Israelis. Additionally, senior Hamas officials will reportedly be allowed to return to the Gaza Strip. All of this to secure the release of 33 hostages, which sadly might be all that are still alive. However, Netanyahu is drawing a line, refusing to agree to a complete cessation of hostilities, and I believe he's right to do so. Israel must finish the job of dismantling Hamas, and there is no other way to do this other than by force. Therefore, a cessation of hostilities is out of the question in phase 1 or afterwards. The bottom line is that the ball is in Hamas's court, and the mediators in Israel are waiting for their official response. When it arrives, and depending on the content that will be included in it, it will be decided whether to send an Israeli negotiating team to Cairo to finalize the deal. If the answer is to insist on talking about a cessation of hostilities, Israel will refuse to cooperate. In my opinion, it is good that Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu understands this and is already publicly instructing the IDF to prepare to enter Rafah in the Gaza Strip. Here at TBN Israel, we will continue to closely follow this issue and update you, our viewers back at home. So please continue to help us spread the truth. Take a minute and click on the follow button. Subscribe to this YouTube channel so that together we can give the truth its rightful place. Zooming in on the events inside the Gaza Strip, in the last 24 hours, the IDF ground and air forces carried out a joint operation to eliminate Iman Zerev, a senior member of the Palestinian Islamic Jihad organization. This terrorist was involved in several attacks against Israelis, including the October 7th massacre. He led attacks on the Sufa community on October 7th and continued leading the Palestinian Islamic Jihad forces in the southern section of the Gaza Strip for several months. But he won't be leading any more attacks against Israelis, and neither will the two other terrorist leaders who were in his bunker with him when it was hit by IDF missiles Saturday evening. Reports have also emerged in the last 24 hours that the IDF is expected to declare a new zone in the center of the Gaza Strip as a safer zone to which the civilians in Rafah can evacuate. This is one of the steps Israel is taking to try and prevent harm to civilians and address the objections to the operation in Rafah that have been raised by the United States government as well as others. According to the report, the new area is expected to be located in the center of the Gaza Strip between the Gaza River and the central camps on the outskirts of Nusirat and Al-Burij near the Netzer corridor, which the IDF currently is in possession of. The nature of the area will be similar to the Mawasi area, which the IDF declared a protected area already in the beginning of this war. It was also reported that the Mawasi area will be expanded east of Khan Yunis and north of the outskirts of Deir el-Balach. As part of the expected evacuation of the citizens of Rafah, Israel will encourage the displaced to evacuate to areas that will be declared protected. In related news, the Lebanese newspaper El Akbar, which is affiliated with Hezbollah, reported from its sources that the United States is demanding that Israel evacuate at least 800,000 displaced people from Rafah before launching an operation in the city. According to this report, the sources also said that there is a concentration of about 1,000 IDF vehicles, including tanks and APCs, on the Israeli side of the border with the southern part of the Gaza Strip. The plan, once again according to this report, is for these vehicles to enter Rafah from the Sofa and Kerem Shalom crossings. Another related story comes from Egypt, where the security forces are demanding to know if Hamas plans to destroy the fences along the border to allow large numbers of civilians to flee into their own territory in the Sinai Peninsula. We will keep watching all these events unfold and keep you updated moving forward. Please continue to share our videos, subscribe to this YouTube channel. It really helps us to reach more people. This is a spiritual war and a war for public opinion, so we need your help in sharing the truth. Switching focus to security operations in Judea and Samaria. Commando units of the Israeli Navy and the IDF ground forces engaged overnight with a group of terrorists who barricaded themselves in a house in the town of Deir el-Rushun near Tulkarem. The IDF forces have been pursuing this terror squad for several hours after receiving information from the Shin Bet that they were in the area. This squad included 5 individuals who have carried out several attacks against Israelis, including an ambush last November that resulted in the deaths of Eliana Klein, a father of 3. This terror squad was also responsible for several other attacks, including one as recently as April 7th on a car driving on Route 55 near the Nabi Elias intersection in Samaria. In a heavy exchange of fire, which lasted 13 hours, 5 of these terrorists were neutralized despite their attempt to use Palestinian civilians as human shields. Another terrorist decided to save himself by surrendering, while one IDF soldier was hit and was taken to the hospital in serious condition. The owner of the house in which the terrorists barricaded themselves was arrested and is a known Hamas supporter. Please take an active part in spreading the truth with us. And if you'd like to see more videos like this one, please consider making a financial donation by clicking the link on this YouTube channel or by going to our website at www.tbn.org/Israel. Next weekend, another episode of my series, My State, will be released, and then our new podcast that gives a deep dive into more complex issues. So stay tuned. Switching focus to regional developments, Turkey has announced that it will suspend all trade with Israel. Some people might wonder how big a problem this is. What are the practical implications of this decision? What is the volume of trade between Turkey and Israel, and what are the reactions in Israel? The short answer is that Turkey is a very important economic partner of Israel, and this suspension of trade will create many difficulties for both countries. According to the Turkish Bureau of Statistics, trade volumes amounted to $6.8 billion in 2023. 76% of this trade was Turkish exports to Israel. According to Israel's Association of Manufacturers, Turkey is Israel's 5th largest source of imports and is a major supplier of some important commodities, including cement, which is needed for Israel's ongoing construction. Turkey also provides many raw materials that are needed for the Israeli industry, and if alternative sources of these materials are needed, it will take time to find them. However, there is an initial response already being put into motion. Much of the Turkish exports to Israel can be rerouted through other countries, including nearby Slovenia. This will add a layer of cost, paperwork, and inconvenience, but that can be managed. As a side note, this will not significantly affect Israel's defense industry. In the past, Turkey was a major consumer of Israeli defense products and technology, but since the Mavi Marmara flotilla incident in 2010, Israel has not been exporting defense equipment to the Turkish armed forces. Russia and Iran have moved in to become major suppliers of defense equipment to Turkey, and also in that period, many European nations have stepped up their purchases of Israeli defense equipment, more than making up for the loss of the Turkish market. Please continue to spread the truth, share, and follow us so that together we can bring the truth as far as possible and to as many people as possible. Pray with us for the peace of Israel, the peace of the IDF soldiers, for the civilians that are affected during this conflict on both sides, in the Gaza Strip, in the Middle East, and in Israel. Don't forget to pray for the peace of Jerusalem. This is a spiritual war. We need all the prayers we can get, and together we will win.